I used to.
Hey, there's no people here. There's people.
Exciting evening playing for you tonight. First of all, I'm pretty sure quite a few people here know me. There may be some who don't. I'm Cliff Hubbard, and I don't need for any of our former athletes to keep calling me Mr. Hubbard. You're all grown up now. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome all of you tonight to our 18th annual induction ceremony into the Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame. We have an exciting evening planned for you tonight. We have some outstanding athletes, some outstanding teams who will be inducted tonight. So I'm going to ask you to sit back, relax, cheer on your favorite athlete as we get to them, enjoy your dinner, and we're going to move right into the program. I'd like to bring up Fred Hauser for an invocation.
You're probably getting it. I've been doing this for a few years now, and I'd like to thank Ron and the committee for keep asking me back. But I'm beginning to feel like George Allen, who was some of you may remember who he was, but he was a comedian pre-television, and he did manage to make it into television, but he lived to be 100 years old. And on his 100th birthday, they invited him and had a big feast. And he said, "It's really a pleasure to be here tonight." He said, "At my age, it's a pleasure to be anywhere." I'm beginning to feel that way. Let's bow our heads in a word of prayer. God, our Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the privilege of being here tonight to induct all of these former athletes, these great athletes, and all that they've contributed to Roxborough High School's rich athletic heritage, and for the example that they set on the field that encouraged everyone who watched them, their teammates, and all who would follow in their steps. We thank you for them and for their skill. Now, our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the food that has been prepared for us. We pray that it nourishes our body and that we may serve you and each other better. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. I'm going to turn it back over to Fred for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Do we have a flag? Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, if you please rise. All right, for those of you who can't see it, the flag is just to my right up front. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May be seated.
If you look in your program, the next thing we have scheduled is a school song. I hate to say it, but would all you Roxborough people stand and sing our school song together? And for those who don't remember, it's on the inside of the back program in the back. Okay? Oh, Roxborough, we love thee. We will stand by thee through all. Oh, Roxborough, the beautiful school, we will never let thee fall. Our Roxborough High School, way up on the hill, all will hear her glory, echoed with a thrill. Shall we work with spirit for our high school? Roxborough we will. And the last verse. Oh, Roxborough, we'll see thee as future years pass by, still holding as you're doing now a place of honor high. Our Roxborough High School, way up on the hill, all will hear her glory, echoed with a thrill. Shall we work with spirit for our high school? Roxborough we will. Thank you. Please be seated.
Excuse me. Before you start eating, just wanted to go over our program book tonight is dedicated to Joe Turcos. Joe, you here tonight? I didn't see you yet. Okay. And just to give you a little bit of information on Joe. The 21st Ward is a community rich in sports tradition, from the many local athletic associations to CYO and church leagues to scholastic competition in high schools. A source of pride for all youth who have ever competed at every level in every sport imaginable is seeing their name in print on the pages of our local paper, The Review. Over the years, local teams have been urged to write their own articles about their teams, their leagues, their journeys, and their accomplishments. In turn, the Review would publish these articles, which allowed the community a glimpse into the sports which so captivated the Roxborough area. Well, in 2006, August, Joe Turcos became sports editor for the Review. His hiring added a professional journalistic structure to these layman-type articles that chronicled youth and scholastic sports in our area. Joe truly has a feel for the innocence of an 8-year-old soccer game, as well as a Scholastic League Championship contest. Whether interviewing a seasoned high school coach or the parents of the child who just scored the winning goal, his insightful comments bring that game to life for the reader. With a simple phone call or email, Joe will gladly cover a game and deliver the story behind the competition. He is now a recognizable face at many games he attends. Coaches, players, parents feel free to go up and talk to him. Simply stated, he brings our games to our town. While his career has included positions in retail banking, commercial mortgage banking, accounting, and retirement planning, you may want to talk to him after this is over, his real lifelong passion has been sports. It is what has lured him from the corporate world to the small local paper. Joe graduated Penn State in '91 with a BA in history. In '93, he earned a paralegal certificate in corporate finance and business law. He later completed a Master's of Business Administration from Westchester University. He also studied journalism at Montgomery County Community College, Temple University, and Westchester University. Joe and his wife Jennifer reside in Westchester with their 2-year-old yellow lab, Molly. Our town is proud to have a local paper that realizes the pure joy of youth sports, as well as a sports editor who understands its ideal. It is with this appreciation of his efforts that we dedicate this program book, which honors the Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2009 inductees. Joe, now that I made you sound like Grant and Rice, come on up.
Thank you, Bill. I didn't realize I was that good. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the inductees tonight on the great accomplishment of being inducted into the Hall of Fame. I'd also like to thank Terry Hammis for nominating me to have this honor, which is truly an honor, and thank the committee for seconding her. I was very excited when I found out when Jack Harmer told me that the book would be dedicated to me. The first thing I wanted to do was go call my wife and tell her that I was so excited about it, but I waited. But as soon as I got out of the dinner that we had, I made sure I called her. I'd like also to thank George Beecham, who is the managing editor of the review, for giving me the opportunity to do this, which is, I always say this is the best job I've ever had, and it certainly is. I'd also like to thank some of my coworkers that came here today, Kim and Faith. I'd also like to thank my parents for coming down from Scranton. DuPont, actually. My dad gets mad when I say Scranton because it's really DuPont. And I'd like to thank them for all they've done, for putting up with me, and for who puts up with me now, my wife, Jennifer, who's actually the person who pushed me to go in and do this, which is something, like I said, I've always wanted to do. So again, thank you and congratulations.
The gift that keeps on giving.
In 1994, and it was a great honor, a wonderful honor. I'll always remember it. I want to talk a little bit, if Ron Halley gives me permission, to talk about Wilt Chamberlain just a little bit. Is that okay, Ron? At Roxborough High, we played Wilt Chamberlain in the 50s 6 times. Twice on his court, twice on our court. And for some reason, into the last year, I played against him 6 times. And the last year, I was beating him in scoring, believe it or not. My average was higher than his average. And he came to Roxborough High, and our court was 20 by 40. So that meant he could jump from half court to the basket. He scored 90 points, and it's still in the records that he scored 90 points against us. I had 18, and he blocked every shot I took. Anyway, what I'd like to do is introduce the inductees that have been a part of this Hall of Fame for years. So I'm going to go through the list of people that are here tonight and read their names, and I hope they would stand, and at the end we'll give them an ovation, okay? First, Jack Bottinger. No, let's wait to the end. Jack Bottinger, would you please stand? Please stand up. Loretta Bunch. Bill Kostunis. I might have these names wrong, but that's Bill Kostunis. Joe D'Angelo. George Eworth. Carl Flaxman. Halo Gambaro. Terry Hemus. She's very upset that she couldn't be here tonight. She's been ill, but she's part of our group. Jim Howard. Joe Horan. Ron Halley. Cliff Hubbard. Jim Miller, Pat Pavelka, William Phelan, Kyle Robinson, Walter Cienko, Joseph Stanley, Sid Young. Did I miss anybody? Let's have an ovation for this group. Next, I would like to Curtis Jones, Paul Bennett, Ron Maiden. Sorry. I next would like to introduce Curtis Jones, Philadelphia City Council. Would you stand up?
I just want to thank you for the induction into the Hall of Fame. Thank you very much. As a councilman for the 4th Councilmatic District, I am proud to be here tonight. As a graduate of Overbrook High School, I have some mixed emotions, particularly in all of the inductions that were at our expense. But one of the things as a track and field participant, and you know Fred Rosenfeld was our coach at Overbrook High School, and he has, at the Penn Relays, each year brought all of the runners back together each year to celebrate, similar to what you're doing tonight. And one of the things we found out was that sports crossed all kinds of barriers, from age, generational, to gender, to race, to income, to economics, because once we all got in that room, we were all just athletes. And what we found and discovered was that to a person that our lives had been enriched by that experience, and that the bonds and fraternities and sororities that are found on a field of sports are unbreakable. Once you go to war or battle with a teammate, they're your teammate for life. You go different ways, but you come back to that common point in time, and it is something truly, truly special. I have the honor of delivering from the Council of the City of Philadelphia citations for all of them. But what I will do is read one of them and ask Patty Brennan to join me, because she's with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and she has citations for the same people. So maybe we can do that together.
You can do that.
We can? Yeah. Would you like to go first?
Why don't you read mine?
I'll read mine. Oh, well, I'll read mine. My citation is to Diane Sams Grineeri. Did I say it right?
No.
You were very close.
I was very close? It's only because you graduated the same year as I did, and I feel some kind of way about you beating up on us all those 3 years. The City Council of the City of Philadelphia is honoring and congratulating Diane Sams Grineeri. The City Council of the City of Philadelphia is pleased and proud to join the Roxborough High School family in congratulating Diane on her induction into the Roxborough High School Hall of Fame on March 19th, 2009. Whereas Diane graduated from Roxborough High School in and was a 4-year member of the girls' varsity gymnastic team. She competed in all 3 city championships from 19 to 19 and was the captain in 19, which was a city championship year. And you know what year that was. Diane was the highest team scorer in uneven parallel bars, balancing beam, floor exercise, vault for 4 straight years during the years of 1973 to 76. Diane was also a member of the girls field hockey team in 1973 and was named co-captain in 1976. Whereas Diane was voted the top senior female athlete in 76 and 77 and received the Alumni Scholarship Award upon graduating 7th in her class. Nicely done. Diane was also a recipient of the Philadelphia City Council Award and won 3 straight city championships in gymnastics. She was a member of the Girls Athletic Association, National Honor Society, Future Teachers of America, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Big Sisters Club. She was named Ms. Roxborough. Is your husband here?
No.
Well, he should be. Whereas the council notes that through her determination and discipline, Diane brought distinction to the sport today. She brings pride to her community. Sports have always been symbolic of the highest values in life, and thus she is a model of our historic concept of citizenship in humanity. Therefore, by virtue of this citation, the Council of the City of Philadelphia is pleased and proud to join Roxborough High School's family in congratulating Diane upon her induction into the Roxborough High School Hall of Fame. We thank her for her contributions and extend to her respect, admiration, and best wishes from our legislative body. Congratulations. Signed by Councilman Curtis Jones Jr. and President of City Council, Anna Verna. Is that it?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Unfortunately, Representative Mandarino couldn't be here tonight, but it gives me great pleasure to ask Councilman Jones to read the citation that is given to someone who is almost a member of my family. Curtis?
Yes, Patty. I've gotten used to saying that a lot. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania House of Representatives citation. Whereas Eric Kaye is being honored upon the 2009 induction into the Roxborough High School Hall of Fame, and whereas Ms. Kaye began playing baseball at the age of 6.
Mr. Kaye.
Mr. Kaye. Sorry, Mr. Kaye.
He's right here.
Where are you? I got you, Mr. Kaye. You're a big Mr. Kaye, too. Okay. Baseball at the age of 6 and was involved in his first baseball championship with the Tigers AC. He resumed his baseball career at Roxborough High School in 1986, where he was selected honorable mention in all public after his junior season. At the conclusion of his senior season, Mr. Kaye was named first team public honorable mention All-State and was selected Pitcher of the Year in the city of Philadelphia. He compiled a record of 10 wins and 0 losses while leading Roxborough High School to a public league championship. Whereas after high school graduation in 1986, Mr. Kaye pitched for Roxborough Athletic Association Pendel League before sustaining an injury. His passion for athletics led him to coaching. As a coach, he led the Tigers AC baseball team, Kendrick women's softball team, and the Tigers AC hockey team to championship titles. You know what you're doing. Now, therefore, the House of Representatives, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, congratulates Eric Kaye on a great and honorable, honoring him in which he has been bestowed upon him. Affirmatively states that his induction into the High School Hall of Fame is truly indicative of his immeasurable, unrivaled contribution to athletics. As directed, this copy of this citation, sponsored by the Honorable Kathy M. Mandarino on February 26, 2009 was transmitted to Mr. Eric Kaye. Congratulations. Mr. Kaye. No, he does not look like a. He does not look like a miss. Take a picture with us.
Yeah, with Eric.
Let's get it. You stay this side. I'll stay on that side. Good coach. Looking good. There you go, Eric.
Okay, it's showtime. The inductees. Before I introduce the presenter for the first inductee, just so happens, for the first inductee, Eddie, I have a letter here from the Mayor of Philadelphia. Each inductee will get this citation, but it is individually addressed and it addresses the accomplishments of that individual. Dear Ed Bigowski, on behalf of the City of Philadelphia, I would like to congratulate you as a 2009 inductee to the Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame. While your impressive sports career continued long after high school, we are proud that it began right here in our great city as a Roxborough Indian. After your days wearing the blue and white soccer uniform, you excelled as a team player at the college level for Temple University and professionally for teams in the Ukraine, South Asia, China, and German American Professional League. I salute you for your dedication to your sport and to your many athletic accomplishments. Best wishes for an enjoyable evening and much continued success. Sincerely, Michael A. Nutter, Mayor of Philadelphia. To introduce our first inductee of the evening, Edward Bagowski. He will be presented by Jim Howard.
My name is Jim Howard, and really check my wallet, I think I am. But anyway, for those of you who don't know me, I had the very good fortune of being the varsity soccer coach and the varsity swimming coach at Roxborough High School for some 36 years. And during that time, we had so many outstanding people come through those programs. And this man I'm going to present to you today, Ed Bigowski, is really a special one. He's the real deal, not only as an athlete, but as a person. He was a three-sport athlete: soccer, swimming, and also baseball. All three teams that he was on won division or public league championships. The sport that he excelled in was soccer. And he was a two-time All-Public. He was an All-Scholastic. He played the position that is considered the most important position on a soccer team, which is center halfback. That's like the quarterback in football. It's like the linebacker in football. You play both offense and defense. He is the general of the team. Now, I could just simply say that, but I want to regress and go back. He was in the class 1970. He came to Roxborough High School in 9th grade. He had never seen a soccer ball or seen a soccer game when he came. But he had an upside. He was small, so Jack Bottinger didn't recruit him for football. And he was small, and he was kind of quiet. And he was asked, why don't you come out for soccer? He had this upside of, number one, he could kick a ball far, and he could run forever. Plus, he was an honor student all the way through school, had never gotten anything lower than an A. So when he was asked about coming out for soccer, he said, I'm going to have to ask my father. He said, I don't think he'll let me. I said, was there anything wrong physically? He said, no. His father was an immigrant. His father believed in hard work, save your money, get good grades, go to college, and then you'll be a success. His father owned a printing business. And everybody in the family worked in the printing business, and his father made sure that everybody in the family knew the whole business all the way through. Now, Ed was very smart, loved mathematics, he wanted to be an accountant. He went through Roxborough High School, straight A's all the way through. He got an academic scholarship. He did very well in accounting, that was going to be his career. He went to Temple University in the summer after he graduated on the academic scholarship. And he really wasn't going to play sports because he's very important that he maintain a 3.5 average for the scholarship. Well, Ed got into Temple University, and you're going to be happy to hear this, you teachers. He said he was so far ahead of all the other students in accounting. He said it was so easy for him because of what he had learned at Roxborough High School. And then he went and he saw the soccer coach who had recruited him because he'd been in All Scholastic. Temple University was a Division I power then. And the coach said, well, look, I've already given out my scholarships for this year because I thought you weren't interested in coming. But he said, next year you got an athletic scholarship, which he used that instead of the academic because that way he could get fed too. So, all 4 years he was a starter. He made the out of the soccer 7, he made the all-star team, and he was a sectional All-American, and he, more important to me, he was an academic All-American too. Swimming, he was one of our fastest freestylers on a division championship team that was captained by Eric Anderson, and they lost in a swim-off against Washington. And in baseball, he was one of Mr. Hubbard's players, not a star, but a good worker from what I understand. And he was just so successful after he graduated. Now, I know I only got 2 minutes, but I'd love to tell you Brian Halley was having a fit back there. Anyway, it is indeed, it is indeed a pleasure and an honor to present Edward Bigowski for induction into the Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much. It was a while ago. I don't remember much about what we did in high school, but one thing I do remember is the field we played on. It was at Ridge and Roxborough Avenue. It was coated with cinders, not a blade of grass. And it was quite a challenge physically to play on the field. And what we had back then, this was an era before Adidas, before Nike. Nobody knew what a warm-up jacket or suit was. And we used these little, smaller than normal rubber, not rubber, but leather balls that kind of looked like a volleyball. It didn't have those pentagon-shaped panels. And on the cinder field, after a game or two, it would turn to suede. And it was a challenge. And I remember starting off, you had to get soccer shoes. Well, soccer shoes weren't sold in Roxborough. You had to go into Center City to a place called Mitchell and Ness. And they only carried one brand. So everybody had the same shoes. And they weren't soccer shoes the way they are today. They were more like boots. They were heavy. And so you had a whole team of people playing on this cinder field, kicking this heavy ball. And at certain times the wind would blow and the cinders would go up in the air. And I went home after some games and my mom said, you know, where do you guys play, in a coal mine? Because I was just covered with this stuff. But in spite of that, we had a lot of fun and friends for life. So thank you very much. Thanks for coming.
Surprise. We also have a citation from the city of Philadelphia to you. I'm not going to read it, but I do know you're a guy.
Okay. Thanks for
And I
that.
want to thank you.
Our next inductee this evening is the 1977 girls gymnastic team. It will be presented by Cliff Hubbard.
Well, it's really an honor for me to be here tonight to present the 1977 girls gymnastic team. And I remember back to a day, I was kind of fortunate. Mrs. Curtis came to me and she said, I need you to come help me with gymnastics. And I said, me help with gymnastics? I had some experience with boys gymnastics. Didn't know anything about girls gymnastics. It's completely different if you ever would see the two. But I quickly learned about girls gymnastics and even got the possibility, the point rather, where I could even do a little bit of coaching. Gymnastics was always called a minor sport. And I had been coaching football and baseball for quite a few years already, and they were always called major sports. And I said, well, what's the difference between a major sport and a minor sport? Gymnastics is a tough sport. Tough. And I would say to all of you, even those of you who maybe consider yourself to be over the hill, I would challenge you to go out and get up on a balance beam and just walk across the beam. Not do anything like a cartwheel or a front semi or back semi. Or get on a set of uneven parallels. One bar was here and the other one was up here. And you had to work the low bar to the high bar back to the low bar, and doing all kind of things on there to get your score. Or go out on a vaulting horse. Probably you would have a problem even jumping over the horse. But they were doing front semis, handsprings with half twists, and so forth. In floor exercise, they were all over the place. I mean, they did poses, they did round offs, they did front semis, back semis. So it was not an easy sport. And the thing that really amazed me about the team, though, was we didn't have a gym. We didn't have a gym. When we had a gym meet, we were in the girls' gym. We were strange, our equipment was strange to us. It was like going to an away meet. We got a chance to get on our own balance beam, we got a chance to get on our uneven parallels. Because all during the time when we practiced, we were down in the small gym, and we did a little bit of floor X down there. We didn't practice on our floor X mat because it was up in the main gym. And the floor wasn't as large as the floor X area was anyway. We never got to work on the uneven bars, the balance beam. Sometimes we'd get into the boys' gym and work on the side while they were having a wrestling match. And on very few occasions, we would get into the girls' gym and maybe have a little bit of a chance to work on our own apparatus. So when the meet came along, it was like we were away because we were on strange equipment. But the young ladies on the team, I mean, they just amazed me because they would get up and whatever it was, their routine, they would never miss a beat. And that was all during the season. So we surprised a lot of people, and I guess a lot of people though said, so they won again, because the two teams 2 years before had already won. So we just carried on a tradition, and these young ladies, and I have to remind myself to call them young ladies because they're not girls anymore, but it is the girls' gym team. they just amazed me and amazed everyone all during the season. And I'm going to apologize if any husbands here, and also to the young ladies, because I'm going to call them by the names that we knew them by when they competed. So we're going to talk about maiden names as opposed to married names. I'm going to call the first two up, and they're going to represent the rest of the team. Diane Soms, who's one of the co-captains, and Shelly Gill. So they will come up and they will do the acceptance. But the rest of the team members, and I don't know how many are here, but I was trying to scout around and find them, but I'm going to call out all the names and have them stand. And if you would stand when I call your name and then hold your applause, and we'll give them all a round of applause at the end. Diane Soms, Shelly Gill, Patty Stewart, Donna Wargo, Jill Brown, Marianne Serpak, Rhonda Reynolds, Debbie Strong, Dawn Owens, Kathy Pfeiffer, Barbie Webster, Sherry McDermott, Sue Noble, Tracy Mismer, Ruth Major, Denise John, and Wendy Rambo. These are the young ladies who won the 1977. I will also say there are some other girls. We were going back and forth trying to figure out if we had all the names, because there were quite a few others on the team also. So I have another set of names here, and I don't know if any of them are here or not, but we also had some others who helped out. And everyone talks about gymnastics as being an individual sport. It is an individual sport, but this was a team, because they always supported each other. And you know, during the gym meet, there's no noise while they're competing, but as soon as a person finished up with their routine, the whole team was around them. So this was an individual sport with really a team background. So it was with pleasure that I present the 1977 girls gymnastic team for induction to the Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame. And all the members of the team will receive a city citation, and they will also receive a state citation.
Thank you, thank you.
You guys beat up on us pretty bad, huh? Coach? Here you go. Just taking it.
We'll take it. We're gonna have to adjust that. Yeah, we're gonna have to lower that. Got it? We're short. Is that okay? Yeah. We'll just start. Okay. Take turns with the knife. Yeah, we'll just kind of go like that. We're gonna share here. Okay. The Philadelphia Flyers were the first expansion team to win the Stanley Cup, winning it in 1974 and again in 1975.
The Roxborough High School girls gymnastic team was Philadelphia's Public League champions in 1975 and again in 1976.
Despite 5 return trips to the Stanley Cup Finals, the Flyers had not won the Cup since, never winning the championship for 3 consecutive years.
The 1977 Roxborough High School's girls gymnastic team did what the Philadelphia Flyers could not do. They won the hat trick. They were champions for 3 consecutive years, 1975, 1976, and 1977.
Further, the varsity team was honored in City Hall by Philadelphia City Council, and I quote an excerpt from Resolution Number 172.
congratulating the girls gymnastic team of Roxborough High School on becoming the public high school gymnastic champions in 1977 for the third successive year. Whereas 15 highly talented girls on the RHS varsity gymnastic team competed in numerous skilled exercises between 7 teams in their division, and whereas the varsity members of the team, Diane Soms, captain, Kathy Pfeiffer, co-captain, Rhonda Reynolds, Donna Wargo, Jill Brown, Shelley Gill, Patty Struitt, Marianne Serpak, Shari McDermott, Dawn Owens, Ruth Major, Tracy Mismer, Debbie Strom, Barbie Webster, Susan Noble, and Denise John and Wendy Rambo, managers, displayed a season of artful athletic prowess in gaining the championship for the third successive year.
Resolved by the Council of the City of Philadelphia that we hereby congratulate the girls varsity gymnastic team of Roxborough High School in achieving the public high school championship for the 1976-77 season, the third successive championship, and commend Coach Marie Curtis and assistant coach Clifford Hubbard, and extend the heartiest congratulations to the principal of Roxborough High School, Robert Hoffman.
A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Well, fortunately for us, we did not have a weak link. Championships can only be won if everyone pulls together and performs to the best of their ability. And as a team member, I can stand here before you and tell you that we were individuals doing the best that we could for ourselves, but more importantly, we all performed the best that we could do for the team.
Someone, including Hillary Clinton, once said, "It takes a village to raise a child." And we had a village at Roxborough High School, starting from supportive families to one of the best physical education athletic departments, to supportive teachers, our principals, and to the community of Roxborough itself. The spirit of the Indian was pervasive and omnipresent. In particular, the faculty in both the women's and men's physical education departments were extremely supportive, including Ms. Hammis, Ms. Jeffers, and Mr. Howitt, who made caricatures of gymnasts for the bulletin boards with humorous but endearing words of support. My mom, Nancy Soms, helped coach after working all day. Miss Gill, who is no longer with us, was in attendance along with my mom and her friend, Mary Teresa, at every single gymnastic competition, either home or away, for the 4 years Shelley and I were on the varsity team, supporting us and the entire team.
Mrs. Curtis, our championship coach, who is no longer with us, and Mr. Hubbard, who introduced us this evening, were our coaches, who always encouraged the members of the team. Mrs. Curtis was a stickler for statistics and left us with many numbers, including the scores of Roxborough and our rival Washington High School. Prior to the 1977 championship gymnastics meet, the total team scores were Roxborough 135.3 versus Washington 133.4, which is less than a 2-point difference.
Gymnastics is a sport that is physical as well as mental. All the events, floor exercise, the vault, uneven parallel bars, and the balance beam, are extremely demanding. Perhaps the hardest of the 4 events is the balance beam. This is the event that we had to dominate in order to win the championship and defeat our rival, Washington. And that is exactly what we did on the day of the championship. Jill Brown started the event without falling, then Shelley Gill, Patty Struitt, me, and Donna Wargo.
Miraculously, during the 1977 gymnastic competition, none of us fell off the balance beam. The spirit of all of us cheering and believing in each other had stabilized us. None of us during this extremely tense competition fell. We were undefeated on the beam and on every event in the competition, finishing with a final team score of Roxborough 135.5 to Washington's 122.2, a 13.3-point difference.
Shelley and I are proud to be a part of this team. This, another celebration honoring the 1977 girls varsity gymnastic team. In closing, I remember a very popular Queen song that played from every radio and jukebox in Philadelphia during the 70s and has since become an anthem for sporting victories. This song was heard again this past October when the Phillies won the World Series, and it will always apply to our 1977 hat trick when we hear it time and time again. Truly, we are the champions, my friends. Thank you.
Our next inductee this evening is Eric Kaye. He will be presented by Jack Bottinger.
Councilman Jones took my entire speech. But I have some nice things to say about Eric that you left out. I've never known an athlete worth their salt who in the long run, deep down in their heart, didn't appreciate the grind, the discipline. I firmly believe that any athlete's finest hour, their greatest fulfillment, to all that they hold dear is that moment when they have worked with their heart for a good cause and lie exhausted on the field, victorious. This quote is by a famous football coach, Vince Lombardi. I had to get football in there somehow. And it represents Eric Kaye and tells us something of why Eric is being honored tonight. Yes, Eric did start playing baseball at age 6 for the Tiger AC, which is located in Manayunk. I got to get Manayunk in there too. He continued playing baseball when he entered Roxborough High School in 1986. At Roxborough High School, in his junior year, Eric was elected to the honorable mention all-public team. He knew there was more work to be done. And at the conclusion of his senior year, he was first team all-public, honorable mention all-state, and he compiled a record of 10 wins without a defeat. Reminds me somewhat of that guy named Lidge that pitched for the Phillies last year. Eric did this while helping his 1989 baseball team win the Public League Championship over a tough Northeast team. Eric was aided in this game by a bases loaded, no outs, triple play in the 5th inning. That tells you something of the team that was behind him. As he went on to pitch a complete game and notch his 10th win. Now let's revisit that Lombardi quote. I firmly believe that any athlete's finest hour, their greatest fulfillment to all they hold dear, in that moment when they have worked their heart out in a good cause, lie exhausted on the field victorious. Eric and his teammates will savor that moment of victory for the rest of their lives. And nothing or no one can erase those priceless memories. That championship brought Eric one more individual honor. He was announced as the city's high school pitcher of the year by the Daily News and the Philadelphia Inquirer. Upon graduation, Eric pitched for Roxborough AA in the Pendel League, and we heard this. Yes, his career was ended by a shoulder injury. Eric's passion then turned to coaching and giving back to the community. He guided a Tiger AC baseball team, a Kendrick Recreation Center women's softball team, and a Tigers hockey team to championship seasons. Eric and his lovely wife, Dee, and handsome son, Brandon, continue to live in Manayunk, which is just 1 block away from Henry Avenue. Now, you Manayunk Roxborough people will get that if you think about it a little bit. Eric Kaye has walked the walk, and now he can talk the talk. Mr. Chairman, it is with great pride and honor that I present the credentials of Eric Kaye for induction into the Roxborough School Sports Hall of Fame. Eric.
Up, the pictures.
He should have played football too.
2 days. 2 days. 2 days in
Mr. Haberly said offensive tackle, and I told him, see you baseball season. Just want to thank my family for being here. And just a couple things me and Mr. Hubbard were just talking about. One big reason why I'm here today is because our starting pitcher in their junior year failed the third quarter. And that's where I came into starting pitching. And when you have a catcher like Joe Turvey, who was drafted in the major leagues by St. Louis, you have to work on a different position a little harder. Not my strong suit. I was saying I don't know which is harder, pitching in the Public League Championship or talking here tonight. But another thing on which the ladies touched about, it is a team sport. I did not pitch the best game, as Mr. Hubbard will contest to, but everybody comes together and you pull the win out. And one of the better memories is playing at Roxborough High School's field. We were playing Central, and I pitched for Mr. Hubbard's 300th win in the Public League. That's all credit to Mr. Hubbard. And I don't know if he knows it or not, but Joe Turvey rubbed out my elbow in between every inning. Because I wasn't letting him take me out of that game either. And I just want to thank the Hall of Fame committee and for a great night tonight. All right, thank you.
My son can't sit on my lap. He'd crush me. Hi.
Our next inductee, Diane Grineeri, will be presented by Peggy Fullerton.
Okay. The person I'm writing about, or introducing, when she proceeded to smack out all the slots in the crib when she was a kid, I figured she was going somewhere. And this is where she went. As she got older, she went to Turner's Gymnastics, which everyone from Roxborough knows where Turner's is, under the watchful eye of the late Joe Hutland, where she proceeded to join his gym club. Between the two, it was a hectic time, getting awake sometimes in the morning to take her here, pick up somebody from a broken car, whatever the case may be. One of the leading accomplishments was a trip to St. Louis through the Roxborough Turners, where she competed with not only gymnastics, but track and field and a couple other events. And there were like 900 people there. Diane ended up coming in 5th, and I may be wrong on that, but that's okay. All around in all those accomplishments. When she went to Roxborough, of course, she excelled academically and athletically, being on the gym team both as a competitor and captain, in addition to working and teaching at Roxborough, the gymnastic team. She also played hockey for 3 years. She completed college at East Stroudsburg, and I'm not going to go through that whole spiel because it's in the book. It is a great pleasure, with much love and gratitude, to introduce my niece, Diane Grineeri, sorry about that, into the Roxborough Hall of Fame. Diane.
have my speech prepared here. You could tell I was a teacher. How does one begin to thank everyone who has had a positive influence in their lives? There are, without doubt, numerous people from every area of my life who are light givers, people who have given me positive energy and who have helped me along life's journey. To all the light givers, including those present here tonight, I will be forever grateful to you. Like a pyramid, everyone needs to have a strong foundation on which to build in order to reach, hopefully by the end of their lives, the pinnacle of a life well lived. It is this foundation which for me began in my childhood with the modeling and constant love and friendship of my maternal grandmother, Madeline, my two aunts who are here tonight, Carol and Peggy, and my mother, Nancy Soms. These powerful women that make up my family have never, ever stopped believing in me. From swimming, gymnastics, and field hockey to academia, from worshiping God to giving back to the community. These women taught me it is in giving everything you have to give that really matters. And in giving, you are doubly blessed by using your gifts for yourself and for others. Before the age of computers, when I was in 8th grade, my Aunt Carol typed my 50-page history report on Holland. Other than the clogs that the people wore while tending the tulips and the magnificent pictures of windmills, for me, there is not much more that I remember about Holland. But I will never forget that my Aunt Carol typed my report for me. Her gift to me was her patience and time and the encouragement to do well in school. My Aunt Peggy, as she already has mentioned, flew me to and stayed with me in St. Louis, Missouri, where I represented the Roxborough Turners girls gymnastic team in a national Turn Fest competition. I was the only contestant from Philadelphia competing against big Turner clubs from across the nation in gymnastics, swimming, and track and field events. Mind you, there were clubs who had entire teams there, as my aunt has already mentioned. And there we were, my aunt, her friend Danny, and me, representing our home, Roxborough. I finished 7th. Thank you for trying to help me out there with 5th. In gymnastics and 8th overall when I was in 10th grade. Her gift was her sacrifice and support and the notion that though you are only one person, you can make a difference. My mom, Madeline, who was here tonight in spirit, took me with her on vacation every summer. We flew to different states each year attending her national conventions. As she was an active member in the auxiliary, are you ready for this? Of the Sons of the Union Veterans of the Civil War. Her gift to me was patriotism, love of family and country. Words will never be able to express everything that my mother, Nancy Soms, has done for me, or all of the many gifts, love, religion, perseverance, wisdom, guidance she has bestowed upon me. She made sure that I was kept busy, enrolling me in gymnastics at the tender age of 5. Ultimately, I was on 3 gymnastic teams, Liberty Bells, Roxborough Turners, and Roxborough High School. My mom drove me to and from Liberty Bell's gymnastic team practices in Chestnut Hill and made sure I had a hot breakfast before every gymnastic competition, which were held on Sundays. At Roxborough Turners, where I competed and then coached a girls' gymnastic team, my mom and aunt, independent of anyone else, would drag heavy gymnastic equipment, uneven parallel bars, the balance beam, and the horse, out of an undersized equipment closet into a small gymnasium for practices and gymnastics competitions. My mom became active with Girl Scouts with my older sisters, one of which is here tonight, and still is an assistant leader today. Therefore, I joined the junior and cadet troops and became a first-class Girl Scout while attending high school. My mom would say to me, Diane, get involved in everything that interests you. Well, I like taking pictures, so I became the Ridge Record photographer. I strive to do well in academics, so I joined the Honor Society. I wanted to be a teacher, so I joined the Future Teachers of America. I was a Christian, so I joined the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I wanted to help children learn to read, so my mom became the liaison of the Roxborough High School's Big Sister program. Roxborough High School students tutored children in reading at Dobson Elementary School, where my mother worked. I believe up until a few years ago, my mom was still tutoring children to read. I graduated from East Stroudsburg University and completed some post-grad work at Holy Family and was employed as an English teacher and an acquisition specialist, and that's just a fancy name for a buyer for the Department of Defense. Currently, I'm an acquisition specialist buying parts for weapon systems for the United States Department of Defense. As a poet, my current involvements, community involvements, or volunteer work include poetry editor for an online magazine, the Fox Chase Review, leader of Center City Poets Workshop at Borders on Broad and Chestnut Streets, and the host of an open mic poetry night at the Blue Ox in Fox Chase. Needless to say, giving of self to community is what my mom did and is still doing, and what she encouraged me to do, and now what I'm encouraging my daughter to do. This leads me to my daughter, Mary, who is excelling at Central High School, not Roxborough, but Central, as an honor student and active member in the drama club. She will be starring as the only freshman who landed a lead role in the school play, Harvey. My sweet daughter taught me how to believe in myself again. She believed in me enough to help me remember who I was. Her gift to me was her inner strength. Sometimes I had something I had once possessed and have forgotten. She helped me to remember how to be courageous again. Closing, I would like to thank the members of the Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame for honoring me this evening, and a special thanks to Joseph D'Angelo for nominating me. I would like to leave you with some thoughts that I have gathered from life's joys and sufferings. No matter what tries to deter us from our strivings, and no matter how many no matter how many years we spend aimlessly wandering the desert or quietly meditating in forests, we ultimately must keep going, keep growing, and more importantly, get up each time we are knocked down or even knocked out. It is the getting up after being defeated that makes us who we are on the inside and on the outside. And hopefully, we will be able to be a light giver for someone else. Thank you.
And now the last inductee for this evening, the 1975 varsity soccer team. They will be presented by Bill Phelan. Allow me a couple of cheap plugs before I present the 75 varsity soccer team. One is, there are two flyers that were left on your table this evening. One, something that is very close to my heart, the Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame Annual Golf Classic. We have a lot of fun with it. It's every Columbus Day. This will be our 8th year up at Westover Country Club. And it goes to a lot of good causes. We've still been able to keep the fee at $85 a golfer. We're waiting for the stimulus package to filter its way down, in which case we may have some leeway in that, but for right now, it's $85 a head. Secondly, the Roxborough High School Alumni Blue and White Night. You have a flyer on that. It is in April. This year they will be honoring none other than Mr. Jim Howard as an honorary alumni of Roxborough High School. Now, I was asked to present the 1975 varsity soccer team for two reasons. One, Coach Jim Howard has already presented our other soccer inductee, Ed Bigowski, And we know that Coach Howard never met a microphone he didn't fall in love with. In fact, if he were up here again, by the time he was done, we'd be doing the 2010 inductees. Seriously, I was asked to present this team as I had the treasure and privilege of coaching about 15 of these guys before, during, and after they played on this extraordinary team. I was joined in this endeavor by Earl Matlack. Hey, Earl, take a bow, babe. As we coached the top 2 team levels out of the Roxborough YMCA Soccer Club under our mentor, the legendary Dr. Jerry Casanis. At this period of time, we had a midget team and a junior level team. We competed in the Inter-County Soccer League, and it was a very successful club. We won the Inter-County Soccer League under Earl. We took a second division crown under myself. Now, Earl and I had these kids only twice a week for practicing a game. Coach Howard, he had them for 5 days a week. Jim, I got to be honest, I didn't see a hell of a lot of improvement. I just wanted to relay this scenario to show you how much this special team was intertwined with the community. There existed a strong club team, a tremendous group of parents, and a great environment at the high school. This team would not have achieved what it did had one of these elements been missing. And the common thread throughout all these elements was the founder of the Roxborough YMCA Soccer Club, the same Roxborough High School team physician, the late Dr. Jerry Casanis, simply known to all as Doc. But enough about me and Earl and the club team and these guys played for on an all year-round basis. Let's talk about the 75 varsity soccer team. The bio and the Banquet booklet list a startling array of accomplishments, and I would like to fill in the names of the individual players from this team that made those accomplishments. This team had 9 all-publics on one team. First team all-publics, Paulo Gambaro, George Eworth, and Pat Canavan. Pat and George were co-captains. Second team all-publics, Mimo Gambaro, Jim Casanis, Chris Oswald. Third team all-publics, George Schwartz, Paul Brown. The all-scholastic team included Mimo and Paulo Gambaro and George Eworth. The all-scholastic team captain was George Eworth. The all-scholastic game MVP versus the New York City team was Mimo Gambaro. The Public League scoring champion that year was Paulo Gambaro. The Public League scoring champ runner-up, this is getting monotonous, Mimo Gambaro. President of the Varsity Club, Pat Canavan. President of the Concert Choir, Mike Urban. President of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, George Eworth. The top-ranked male student senior class, Pat Canavan. The top-ranked male student junior class, Jim Casanis. And last, the names of George Schwartz, Chris Oswald, and George Eworth. They were on the 5-year program at Roxborough High School. Where's Bobby Warner? Bobby, got a note for you football guys. You're going to love this. During the decade of the 70s, this small school on the hill produced a soccer team that 4 times either played for the Public League title, won the Public League title, and won the city title. 1970, 71, 75, and 76. They also made some noise in the 1980s, but that's for another night. It's also been great seeing some of these guys that I haven't seen in over 30 years. I look at a George Schwartz and a Chris Oswald and a Jim Craighead. And gentlemen, the years have not been kind. Seriously, you guys were some of the first guys that I coached in my 30 years of coaching youth soccer, and it was indeed a privilege to do so. I now call upon Coach Jim Howard and Captain George Eworth to come up and accept the nomination, and they will in turn call up the rest of the team that is present tonight by name to come up and be acknowledged as inductees into the Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame. Mr. Chairman, it is with great sincerity and appreciation that I present the 1975 varsity soccer team and their credentials for acceptance and induction into the Roxborough High School Sports Hall of Fame.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Yeah, like I said, good job.
Excellent. Coach, go ahead. Say a couple words. All right, sure.
Don't fight over it. That's the first time I ever seen Coach Howard not want to speak first. I'd just like to congratulate all the inductees in the Roxborough High School Hall of Fame. And on behalf of myself, I'd like to just give a few words out that Pat Canavan, our other co-captain, was unable to make it. He did email me. He just wants to say congratulations to all the inductees. He wishes everyone well. He saw he couldn't be here. He had work, had him tied up, and they'll catch up with you guys later. Right now, I'd just like to call the guys' names. They could stand. Starting back in the goal, Paul Brown, Al Hawkinson, George Schwartz, Jimmy Burbano, Matt Harrington, Jim Casanas, Chris Oswald, Steve Umper, Paulo Gambaro, Mimo Gambaro, Matt Harrington, Dennis Slook, Tom Urban, Chris Harrington, Jimmy Moore, Leo Kalidas, G. Mazurek, Chris Oswald, I mentioned, John Kritz, Jerry Bell, Robert Goods, Marty Fuhr, Joe Mismer, Joey Long, who was our manager, and this is an extremely talented squad. If I missed anyone, I'm sorry, okay? Even though with the glasses on, I still have a Jim Craighead. Sorry, buddy. I still, it's been 2 years since I got my glasses. But, you know, what Eddie Bigowski was talking about the cinders back at the rec. I remember George Schwartz and I at the Roxborough YMCA, we used to work there. We went up to Robert Hammerback. Some of you remember Robert Hammerback, who was the executive director. And we asked him, we said, listen, can we use the Roxborough YMCA field for our soccer team? He said, only in one condition, if you bring us a public league championship home. And that was the condition, and things worked out, thank God. But, you know, our team was quite unique, okay? They were diehard guys. We stuck together. The memories will last us for a lifetime. It's amazing the bonds that we have. I see guys on the street, the Gabaros with their concrete business, Schwartz, and everyone else I see. Then first thing we start talking about is, do you remember when? That's the first thing we start talking about, just like everyone else is here talking about, do you remember when? And you know, not only do we play 7 days a week, okay, we played club ball, inter-county, Roxborough YMCA, we played with Roxborough High School. We just didn't play the game. We lived it. We just couldn't wait to get out and practice and play together as a team. It was just an unbelievable experience. It's something I'll never ever forget. I'd just like to thank Coach Howard for the dedication that he's made to the Roxborough community. Here's a man that came from the suburbs that really made an impact on Roxborough High School. Really spent a lot of time with us. He sacrificed a lot of time from his family. And we really do appreciate that as a team coach. Also, Dr. Gasanis. He holds a special part in our hearts. You guys know what I'm talking about, okay? He's looking down on us now. I wish he was here. He's not, but he's with the Lord. And I just want to say, again, thank you guys for making this a part of, you know, just a special part of my life. You well deserved it. Thank you very much.
I'd like to clarify a mistake. If you look at the photograph in the program, and it's an actual mistake, this is not the championship team. The championship team was the 75 team, but don't forget the 75 team was in the fall, but those guys in the 75 team, their graduating class was 76. When they went to the archives of the yearbooks at the school, the yearbook for 75 was pulled out, which had the photograph here of the 74 team. But if you want to see the 75 team, if you'll look at the table over there, and we will take orders if you want copies. But anyway, when you're a teacher, the teams like this are the fuel that feed teachers and keeps us going and makes teaching the most noble profession in the world. Who's next? Okay, Fred Hauser.
I know you're all ready to go home now. I just want to say this. We cannot walk out of this room tonight without the inspiration that every one of these people brought. And as I sat there, I thought, these were gifted athletes, but every one of them had people who had gifts that contributed to it. Mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, teachers. We all have gifts, and we share them with each other, and that's why we're here. And we thank you for every gift that every one of us has. Can we close with a benediction now? Our Heavenly Father, we truly thank you for the inspiration that we received this night. We just pray for a safe journey home, good night's sleep, and we pray tomorrow that you would give us opportunity to use our gifts to enrich somebody's life tomorrow. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
We have a 50-50 drawing.